What's going on, guys? It's Kevin with Optimize Essentials, and today I'm going to be talking to you about squatting with knee pain or experiencing knee pain while you squat. A lot of my clients, most notably the ones who are a little bit overweight or have really poor posture, experience knee pain usually on one knee, the left knee, or on both knees when doing squats. It also happens with my older clients because the muscles have been excessively tight and restricted for such a long period of time that it constantly pulls on the kneecap, the patella, and resulting in knee pain. Or it just comes from being excessively overweight and all the force that you're driving into the knee, all the shearing forces that your knee experiences also leads to knee pain as well. So I'm going to share with you today some tips and tricks, some stretches, some ideas behind why it occurs, and what you can do to mitigate or to just take away all the pain in general, because usually the knee pain comes from excessively tight muscles and poor form. So I'm going to teach you what you can do to stretch and potentially release the muscle before you do the exercise, and then finally how to do the exercise correctly so that you don't experience knee pain while you squat or do any type of leg movements. All right? So the very first thing you want to understand when it comes down to squatting with knee pain is how it happens. All right? Typically, when I'm watching a client squat, they go into a squat, and the very first thing that happens at the bottom of the squat is their knees start to come forward this way, all right? The knee starts to push forward, or their heels come off the ground, or their feet turn out and do something weird where suddenly everything that goes on, or all the issues, all the force that happens when you're doing the squat, it shoves into the knee. Because if you think about it, what happens when you're squatting down into this position, your knees are pushing forward, and all the force is driving into that knee joint. If you stand up from your seat or whatever you're doing and you try this exercise with me, when you go down, I want you to get onto your toes and push all the force into your knees. Instantly you feel all the pressure, all the damage go into your knees, right? That's because of the angle, the force and which the knee is taking the damage is creating a lot of tension in that joint. So what you want to do is you want to release and stretch out the muscles surrounding the knee, most notably your calves and your soleus, and also your hip flexors, most notably your quads and psoas, so that when you get into that position, you're not restricted by the tight muscles that are preventing you from getting deep into a squat or performing the squat correctly, right? Today I'm only going to show you the stretch. If you don't find relief, or if there's still a little bit of lingering pain, you want to make sure you watch my video on the cure to tight hip flexors, because in that video I'll teach you how to release the muscle so that when you do stretch you get a much better bang for your buck. Because if you just stretch the muscles but you have a lot of tension in your muscles, you have a lot of trigger points or knots in the muscle, it's not going to respond as well as opposed to releasing it first and then stretching it out. But you will notice a lot of benefit from just stretching the muscle out by itself. All right, so the very first thing you want to do to improve your ankle mobility or to stretch out your calf is to grab a platform. All right, if you don't have a step box, or if you don't have a little platform, you can use a set of stairs. You can use anything that allows you to be elevated, a chair if you're willing to climb on top of one. But it's pretty much most gyms have a step box. All right, so what you want to do, you're going to step on the box, and then you are going to put one leg in front and one leg in the back, and make sure you're using just the palm of your foot, all right? See this right here? The palm of your foot. So you're going to use the palm of your foot, and you're going to go towards the edge, and then you're going to drive this heel straight down, right? Make sure you keep this leg nice and straight, and you're going to hold this for about 60 seconds or until you feel like your calves are no longer tight. So hold this for as long as your body needs. And if you want to play around with the angle, you can go ahead and bend your knees just a little bit while you're driving your knees down, and you might feel that a little bit more in your soleus. So do that as long as it's necessary. It might be less, it might be more, who knows? It's your body. Play around with it, and then switch legs once you're done. So that is the very first calf stretch that I want to show you. The next thing is more for your soleus, or not your soleus, your gastroc, right? There's two parts to your calves. It is your gastrocnemius and your soleus. So the next thing you want to do is you want to push against the wall. So imagine there's a wall right in here, and you're going to drive your heel down. So never let your heel come off the ground. If it's coming off the ground, that means you're either too far back or you're mostly too far back, right? Because if you're too close, you'll be able to keep your heel down, no problem, but you want to make sure you're in between too far and too close so that you get a nice deep stretch right in your gastrocs, right? So push against the wall and drive that heel down, and that's really gonna stretch out your calves. Once you've done the calf stretch, now we wanna attack your hip flexors, all right? A lot of people have a misconception of what your hip flexors are. Your hip flexors aren't just your psoas, it's also your quads, it's also your TFL. But today I'm gonna show you two of the biggest components or biggest key players when it comes down to hip flexor restriction when you're coming into the squat. And that is a hip flexor stretch for your psoas and also your rectus femoris, all right? So the very first thing you wanna do is you wanna have a chair. It could be any type of chair, it could be a platform, a box, anything that's about knee height. So if I stand right next to it, it's right next to my knee, all right? So from this position, if it's hard for you to get your foot up and go down, what you can do is you can get all the way down on the ground first, and then slowly put your foot up, and then rest the knee directly below and in front, slightly in front of the chair. From this position, you are gonna take this other leg and you are gonna come out. From here, you don't wanna sit up all the way first, you wanna progress into it by staying as low as you can. I call this kind of like the Spider-Man stretch because you're kind of in this weird position, right? That looks like Spider-Man. So from here, you're gonna squeeze your butt and you're gonna push your hips down and twist, all right? So you're gonna try and separate this shoulder from this hip by pressing down on your hips, squeezing your butt, and then twisting away in this position, in this opposite of your hip. When you're pushing and twisting this way, you're gonna get a little bit of your TFL as well, but mostly you're gonna get some of that hip flexor going on when you really press and squeeze in here. Hold this for about 30 to 60 seconds or until your body feels like it's ready to go, and then you're gonna slowly climb up into this position. Get the opposite arm and climb on your knee, and you're gonna hold that and squeeze your butt, and you're gonna hold that for another 30 to 60 seconds. Once you've felt like the muscle is starting to relax a little bit and let go, now I want you to progress up higher and higher until you can eventually get your knee nice and straight and your hip, your glutes close to your heels. This is gonna feel really intense if you haven't done this before, but if you practice it and progress over time, you'll be able to really stretch out your quads and stretch out your hips and be able to lean all the way back and get a nice deep stretch. Once you've stretched out your quads, your hip flexors, your calves, now I want you to perform the squat on top of a box, all right? This is the best way by far that I have found as a personal trainer to help my clients do a squat properly, all right? Even if you didn't do these exercises, these two stretches that I've showed you, just by using the box, you can teach yourself how to stretch, I promise you, right? The idea behind the squat is you want to be able to get nice and deep, but if you can't get in this position because you have poor ankle mobility or poor hip mobility, this is going to teach you how to do it. So what I tell my clients to do is I have them stand in front of the box about shoulder width, and then I just tell them, all right, try to sit back onto the box with your chest up, right? So keep your hands in front of you, keep your chest up, and then slowly sit back onto the box. And then they're gonna rock back and then come up, just like that. So you're gonna push your hips back, rock into the box, breathe in, walk back, and then drive up, and then squeeze the butt, all right? Normally what happens first is they might do a little something like this. They might go down and push hips forward. But what you want to focus on when it comes down to squatting properly is first pushing your hips back. And right as you push your hips back, that's when you bend your knees back, all right? So imagine you're trying to sit back onto the box by pushing your butt back, rocking it back just a little bit, and then coming up, squeezing. Push your hips back, rock back, squeezing, all right? A few things to keep in mind. Keep your chest nice and proud. Thoracic extension, you don't want to be rounding as you're going down. You want to make sure you stay in extension in the upper body. Sticking your butt back, rocking back, quick tap, and then come up. As you get better and better, just do a quick touch and come up. And then eventually you can get the box out of the way, push back, touch, come up. That's how you do it, guys. That is how you squat properly with knee pain. If that has helped you or you felt a lot better after trying this, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you send it to all your friends because a lot of people experience poor posture, pain while they're squatting, and I want to help transform this world in that sense. So once again, it's Kevin with Optimize Essentials. Make sure you stay tuned for more. There are other videos that I have to share with you. If this isn't enough. You want to make sure you watch others because it's going to definitely help you improve your posture and your pain. All right? Have a good one.